I'm reading out of the Reference Guide to Regulatory Compliance on page 779. I'm within the section on IRS rules and regulations. I'm in part 5, hoping this is the last session of IRS rules and regs. We're talking about information reporting. It's referred to as middleman regulations. In fact, the Internal Revenue Code section 1.6041-1E was revised by ruling 93-70, and that was done in 2004, I suppose, most recently. The purpose of the information reporting middleman requirements is to require payers of several types of payments made in the normal course of business to file information reports on those payments, including payments made in the performance of oversight functions on construction loans and payments made to non-employee directors and attorneys. Payments that are not reported on another form are covered. Payments for goods and services are required to be reported. The coverage is 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being oversight functions, 2 being payments made to an attorney for services related to the practice of law or to an accountant for services rendered. 3, non-employee compensation as reported on a 1099 MIS, including payments to directors, and credit card payments to merchants if a bank receives payments on credit cards, gift cards, or debit cards for a merchant who accepts them from its customers if the payments are greater than $20,000 or 200 transactions per year. The oversight functions covered are all persons acting in an oversight function for disbursements on construction payments. This includes a lender that makes disbursements pursuant to a construction loan agreement and either performs an oversight role pursuant to a construction loan agreement or has an economic interest in the payment and does not apply when construction proceeds are advanced by payments to a borrower's account. I think in general, this particular IRS rule is just can be comprehended by banks as the reporting that has to be done on 1099 miscellaneous for all of their accounts payable activities to non-incorporated payees. And yes, that does include the amounts that they pay to lawyers, accountants, and their directors. The responsibilities of the bank is to file an information return on all payments made to a subcontractor that total more than $600 in any taxable year or to an attorney for any amount during the taxable year. Include the payee's name and address and amount of the payment disbursements. Send the return to the IRS by February 28th or March 31st if filing electronically, and send a copy of the information to the taxpayer by January 31st of the year following the disbursement. Penalties for failure to file information is actually exactly the same as what it was for backup withholding and for discharge. There is still a de minimis exception. I'm going to sneak into section 6, which is the interest on qualified student loans. This is covered within the Internal Revenue Code section 6050S. The purpose is to report interest on qualified student loans, covering lenders who receive interest payments that may be deductible by the borrower as interest paid on a qualified education loan. And the definition of a qualified education loan is given here. It's any loan used to pay the cost of attendance at an eligible institution. The student must be enrolled at least half-time in a program leading to a degree, certificate, or other recognized educational credential, Funds from eligible loans can be used for tuition fees, room, board, books, equipment, or other necessities. Eligible institutions are those that the eligible to participate in the Department of Education student loan program, including colleges, universities, vocational schools, and other post-secondary schools. If a loan is not subsidized, guaranteed, or financed, the lender must request a certification that the loan is solely for education purposes to be covered. Mixed purpose loans do not qualify. Revolving lines of credit must be used solely for education purposes to qualify. Requirements of banks under this section are filing the Form 1098-E, the student loan interest statement, by February 28th or the 31st of March if it's filed electronically, where interest is in excess of $600, and the report needs, the 1098-E needs to be sent to the borrower by January 31st. The lender may send the notice electronically if the customer has consented to receive it in this manner. The notice contains the same information as the paper form. The information is posted on the lender's website and the customer is notified of the fact. If lender has more than 250 forms to file, it must do so electronically or by magnetic data, meaning to the IRS, by March 31st. The lender must maintain customer certification that the amount is a student loan, Form W-9S, unless this loan is subsidized, guaranteed finance, or otherwise treated as a student loan under federal, state, or local programs. If the bank treated the loan as a mortgage interest loan reportable on Form 1098 before 1998, the lender should continue to report it that way, even if it's for educational expenses. For loans made after 97 that are secured by real property but not used exclusively to acquire or improve real property, report the portion that the borrower certifies as student loan interest on Form 1098-E and the other part on Form 1098. Form 1098-E must include name, address, and TIN of lender. The borrower's name, address, and TIN is required on the 1098-E, and the lender should report this information about the principal borrower if the loan involves more than one borrower, for example, a student and his or her parents. Amount of the student loan interest received must be included on the 1098-E, including points and loan origination fees, but not fees for services such as insurance. Capitalized interest also is to be reported on loans incurred after September 1st of 2004. The account number must also be included on that statement. The failure to file an information return is precisely the same as it was for backup, withholding, discharge, and the middleman requirements, which is the 1099 MISC. Not sure if I'm going to have time to discuss Part 7 about foreign accounts, even though it really should be short. Let me check my time. Oh, I do have time. This covers... Do I have a purpose of the foreign accounts? I do have a codification, IRS code 1471 to 1474. It covers foreign financial institutions holding U.S. accounts. U.S. financial institutions that make payments that include fixed, determinable annual or periodic income to foreign entities, foreign entities with U.S. owners, excluding publicly traded companies, and exempt entities include governments, most nonprofit orgs, and small local financial institutions. The requirements. The general rule is that FFI must report U.S. accounts, which is the foreign financial institution, to either the IRS or to the FFI's respective tax authority, and must conduct due diligence to ascertain whether they have such accounts. The U.S. financial institutions must file reports on payments made to foreign entities and withhold 30% on such payments unless the payment is exempt. Registration requirements for FFIs. To avoid automatic withholding requirements, an FFI must register with the IRS and agree to report information about U.S. accounts, including accounts of foreign entities with substantial U.S. ownership. FFIs who register with the IRS and PFFIs are assigned an identification number to be used for reporting purposes. U.S. financial institutions with foreign entities may also submit registrations. Withholding by FFIs must be done by June 30th of 2014. Withholding agents were to withhold on withholdable payments that are not exempt, and for U.S. financial institutions covered, the U.S. financial institution are required to withhold 30% of U.S. source payments to foreign entities unless the entity can be documented for FACTA purposes. Information reports. Reports on payment must be filed on Form 1042 beginning no later than March 2015 on accounts for foreign entities with U.S. borrowers. That's actually it for the IRS rules and regulations. I'm surprised FACTA is not longer. But I'm sure we'll get more information on that in the near future.